Shalom, Most High in Christ, bless Israel. My name is Brother Zerubbabel.
And Ezra Elazar.
We are children of Israel, and we are back once again. Blessed Sabbath to everyone. As you know, we're here. Go through another lesson. What's wrong with my throat, man? To go through another lesson. This one is almost somewhat a continuation of the other one. As you're going to see, we're going to be in the book of Job for a little while, dealing with some topics out of Job, uh, answering some questions out of the book of Job. If you read the book of Job, you'll see that the book of Job, some people like to call it a parable. It is somewhat of a parable. But at the same time, there's a lot of questions asked in the book of Job. A lot. There are a lot. And so one of the things that we've done is, gone through each question and still haven't gone through every single one of them. And look for the answers in the scriptures and put together a lesson based on the precept. So this one we're going to be going through today, whoever perished being innocent. A lot of our people, and a lot of people in general, tend to go through life believing that they're innocent. Men, women, children, especially teens, no matter how bad of a person they are, how they treat people, how they conduct themselves in their day-to-day lives, everybody still wants to look at themselves in the mirror and believe that they're innocent, that, they still have that childhood innocence about them. So with the scriptures actually tells us what it means to be innocent. And that's what we're going to go through today. Again, the question is, whoever perished being innocent. Perished, whoever died, passed away, was consumed, KILED, the M word, the erdered, whatever term you want to use, where somebody perished, meaning that they lost their life. And so that's the question, whoever perished or whoever lost their life being innocent. And according to the scriptures, what innocent means in the scriptures is somebody that is free from sin, somebody that's free from iniquity. That's what it means to be innocent in the scriptures. And we're going to show you that as we go through the lesson. We're going to actually go through the precept that actually shows us and tells us what it means to be innocent according to the Most High. So somebody that's innocent is somebody that has not committed iniquity. They don't commit iniquity. They're not a sinner. They're not in sin. And the question is asking, if a person is not, if a person isn't in sin, have you seen or read in the scriptures where one of our forefathers or foremothers perished while being innocent? Have we seen it happen? And so when we go through the lesson, we're actually going to touch up on some stories in the scriptures of some of our foreparents that actually were accused of being in sin. And that's one of the things that this lesson goes into also, is bringing up false allegations against the innocent person, somebody that's innocent, claiming them to be in sin when they're not. We see that happen a lot in the Israelite community. Sometimes people are quick to accuse a brother or sister in the truth of being in sin without actually having any proof that they are in sin. You see that a lot with I know one of the main people I hear with a lot is with Bishop Nathaniel, and I scratch my head because some of these guys will swear up and down that he's the worst monster on earth and just full of sin and the worst Israelite ever. But in reality, I can't think of. Can you think of any time you ever seen or heard Bishop Nathaniel and in any kind of sin, getting caught up in any kind of sin? So that's why when I hear these guys talk, I just kind of scratch my head, like what are they talking about? You know what I mean? Just it just baffles me because like I said, I've never personally met the man, but from what I see, um, you know what I mean, in my watchings and my dealings with IUIC, I can't. I can't think of any time where somebody you know ever came out and Bishop Nathaniel got busted for adultery. You know what I mean? Bishop Nathaniel um, is a thief or anything. You know what I mean? I can't. And I'm talking about forget about the false accusations. We know those are all over the place. I'm talking about real allegations that are founded to be true. I haven't seen it, haven't heard it. You know what I mean? So um, I think some of our brothers in this truth go too far. They take things too far sometimes. Um, when it comes to being so accusatory towards other brothers in this truth, especially among the leaders in Israel. Um, it baffles me because you have one particular leader like Tahar, who is a bona fide demon. And I'll say it straight, he's a bona fide demon. You know what I mean? I can't even honestly. I've got nothing personal against the man, but I can't stand to hear the man talk. It irks me just to hear his voice when he talks because of just the things that come out of his mouth are so stupid, and it's every time he opens his mouth, something stupid comes out, and I'm saying the word stupid because I'm honestly telling you that almost any and everything that comes out of his mouth is just stupidity. It's ignorance. You know what I mean? And you have a guy like him running around Israel, proclaiming to be a leader in Israel, talks about raping women and little girls, and got his followers running around talking about raping women and raping little girls. And the majority of Israel don't say. In fact, I hear more people giving double honors to Tahar than I do, and I'm talking about people outside of their particular camps, people of other groups, other leaders of other groups. I hear more of them giving double honors to Tahar than you hear of them giving to Bishop Nathaniel. And I like I said, I just scratch my head like what is wrong with Israel? Why is it that we can't seem to discern the difference between what we could call a good leader and a just jacked up leader? You know what I mean? Like, what is wrong with this? And and I didn't want to mention it, but I will mention that I was watching the lesson just a few days ago. I don't know if it was during last Sabbath. That was it live last Sabbath, where they played a video of some of Tahar's men just saying, I don't even want to repeat the stuff that they said, especially in regards to, you know, Bishop Nathaniel's wife. I'm not wife, his daughter. And I can't believe that the only people that said it and had to stand up and say something, you know, which, you know, they're gonna, you know, IUIC is always going to stand up for themselves. You know, they're gonna do it, of course. But sometimes it helps to have somebody else in your corner looking, going, hey, wait, look, that's way out of line. And I can't believe that you've seen it lately. You know, something happens in Israel and everybody's talking about it. What was it just last month, the month before, the stupid thing about whether or not Christ is God? You know what I mean? People got up in arms about that. You know what I mean? It's like little dumb things. All of a sudden, everybody just gets in a big uproar about it. And then you have this man get on video and make a threat towards Bishop Nathaniel's daughter, saying, I'm going to rape your daughter. And I haven't heard nobody say anything about it. I'm saying something right now because that was way, 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 way out of line. That was seriously, out of the years that I've been in the truth and heard people say just outlandish, crazy things, that's the worst thing I've heard anybody say in this truth so far. Especially towards, you know, somebody like Bishop Nathaniel. I'm going to, you know, rape your daughter. And if you haven't seen the video, go and look. I don't remember the name of the video. The class that Bishop Nathaniel, and he put it to him correctly, you know, that, you know, won't repeat what he said, but let it be known that, you know what, don't even think about it. But there are a lot of our brothers in this truth that are not innocent by any means. And it just baffles me that you have people just innocently get accused of stuff. Just the vitriol, the hatred, the anger. And like I said, some of the stupid things that come out of some of these men's mouths that are so-called teachers in Israel. You have to ask yourself, when is it going to stop? We keep asking that. When is this foolishness going to stop? But again, and one of the things you're going to find out through this lesson that some of you like Tahar and your minions better come to understand that the Most High don't like people that falsely accuse his innocent, that bothers his innocent. Well, we're going to go through precepts that show it, that says it straight out, straightforward, that the Most High does not like at all anybody that messes with his innocent. All right. So, I don't know. It's just to a point now. It's like, you know, you gotta leave the man alone. Let him do the work that the Most High put him here to do. You know what I mean? It's like I've said before, he's not 100%. None of us are 100% innocent, you know, sin free. None of us are. None of, you know, our leaders that you read about in the scriptures were. You know, King David, Solomon, you go through, we had almost all of our leaders had issues. All right. And I'm not talking about pre-Israelite leaders. I'm talking about post-Israelite. After, once Israel became a nation, because I know people are going to start going in there and throwing in Job and throwing in Abraham and throwing. So I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about of Israel. You know what I mean? So leave the man alone. Let him do his work. Let him do the work that the Most High put him here to do. Because from what I'm seeing, the work that he's doing is a great work. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of it comes out of a sense of jealousy and envy from the majority of these dudes that are on here, just constantly, it's constant. It's constant. If anybody could somewhat understand what Christ went through, as far as just, having the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes, the lawyers, all these other groups constantly just badgering them and badgering him and messing with them. I think Bishop Nathaniel is probably about the closest. All right. And that also goes even for, people that, like myself, that were a part of, the camp at one point or another. All of us at some point, we had some issue that caused us to either leave, or in some cases, for some people, got kicked out. But even so, you still should have at least some sense of loyalty still. At least some. You know what I mean? Some of the things, I've stayed quiet for a long time, but over the years that I've been gone, I've seen and heard, even from people that have left the camp, just take things too far, where some have gone run into our enemies, trying to make friends with them, going on their channels, trying to, I don't even know what the words to say it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you want to say destroy the camp or destroy, the names of some of the leadership in the camp. I don't know. I'm not that kind of person. That's just not me. Anybody in the camp that knew me from Sacramento, they would say, that's not that brother's character. That's not me. I couldn't do that. I would never do that. You know what I mean? And it's ironic that a lot of these brothers that did leave, after they've done all these videos and made all these accusations, and now they're out there doing their own thing, and I'm seeing them doing nothing no different than what what they were complaining that they left. You know what I mean? They were complaining about what they left, and some of them are doing some of the same things or even worse. So yeah, we're going to get into this lesson, but that goes again, some of our people need to be retaught. They really need to be retaught these scriptures, and just truly learn how to be a brother, and and love his brethren the way we're supposed to, because we're going to be here for a long time, man. That's what I'm seeing. We're going to be here for a long time until we get our act together and gather ourselves together, truly gather ourselves together. All this infighting and backbiting and name calling and threats, and you know what I mean, it's not conducive to the work at all of what we're trying to accomplish, what we need to accomplish. And I don't know. We just don't need any counterproductive people in this truth right now. It's bad enough. We're getting ready to have a battle with the enemies. They're gearing up. They're mobilizing. If you can't see it, or if you can't open your eyes to see what's going on, you better hurry. You better quickly, because the enemy is mobilizing. They're circling the wagons. They're preparing. And while they're preparing to go, to go to war with us, we're too busy warring with each other and thinking that the world is funny. This whole truth is fun and games. So we're going to open up as we usually do. Excuse my voice. I don't know what's going on with my throat. Last week was getting over being sick, and I hope I'm not getting it again with all this cold and rain coming back. So let's go to Hebrews 5:12 through 14. But I just wanted to, just say that I know I'm nobody. Nobody's going to listen to me, but, just so IUIC Bishop Nathaniel, there's somebody out here, that's not, against your, what I mean? Just, I don't even know how to put it into words. You know what I mean? It's just, I'm just, I'm not there anymore, and I'm tired of hearing about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it still bothers me to hear people act like this and talk this way. It's just, I don't know. It's crazy. It's weird. It's a really weird situation that to see somebody out there with that much passion in trying to wake up and help his people, and just seeing people sit back and wanna try and hurt it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make. I guess that's just the way I was raised. That's the kind of person I am. That I love to see people with passion, that are passionate about what they do. You know what I mean? Whether it was in martial arts, somebody that was like myself, that was very passionate about teaching, very passionate about, the art at that time. Now I've been able to, take it and put it into this. But even I sit back and be like, man, Bishop Nathaniel's passion for this is just on another level. It is just on another level, especially compared to leaders of some of these other camps. I'm not seeing anybody with that amount of passion and dedication that he has for this truth, and trying to wake our people up and put this nation back together. Show me somebody else that's more passionate than he is, and I'll shut up about it. But I can tell you, from what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing it from anybody else. I'm not hearing it from anyone else at all. So, some of you brothers need to be retaught. You just really need to go back to the drawing board and take a hard look in the mirror, a hard look, because some of you don't understand that you're going to have to deal with the Most High for some of the things that you're saying and some of the things that you're doing, especially making a threat like that against Bishop Nathaniel's daughter, man. the Most High is go deal with you with that. Lord's will, you repent before you have to deal, before he makes you deal with them. If you don't, I feel bad for you, man. And I feel bad for some of these guys that are caught up in Tahar's camp. How long did it take for you to hear a GMS class or a GMS street teaching video and watch one before, you were like, man, these dudes is crazy. There ain't no way I'm having anything to do with them.
The first one.
Exactly. I don't think I got through 10 minutes of the first video that I ever watched of them, and I was like, who are these guys? And what do they teach? What are they saying? And that was the only reason why I kept watching, because I was like, am I really hearing the things that I think I'm hearing? And watch their videos, watch IUIC, watch their videos. And I'm like, yeah, it's something real clear here that not all these camps are alike. Not all these camps are the same. I figured that one out real quick after. And in fact, one of the first ones that I watched, I think it was like 2014, where it was some IUIC brothers on the corner teaching, and a group of GMS dudes came walking up on them and tried to start trouble, start a debate and all this kind of stuff. And
They came up with white shirts, right?
huh?
They were all wearing white shirts.
I think so. I think,
that
and they were just acting real immature and foolish, and I was just like, you know what? Yeah, there's a difference. There is a difference. And so I'm glad I picked that up real quick. But I don't know. While watching that video last week, it really did something. It really bothered me. And if you watch that video and you didn't feel some type of way about it, you better check your spirit. I'm serious. If you were able to, if you watched the video and you heard that guy saying what he said about Bishop Nathaniel's daughter, and that didn't make you feel some type of way, you need to go check yourself. Go look in the mirror, because I know that bothered me. To hear something like that, a threat like that to man, that's crazy. Crazy. Go ahead and read what you got. Let's get to this lesson, man.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 5, verse 12. Only for the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and shall become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those whom by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
Like I was saying a second ago, it amazes me that you have people coming to this truth and can't look at certain leaders in this truth and be able to see that these men have been in this truth for 20, 30, 40 years, and they haven't grown. They haven't repented. They're still on the level of not even a novice. They're still like a newborn babe in this truth that truly needs to be retaught again. But yet you have people willing to run to their camps and join them. I don't get it. I'm serious. I'm just really baffled by it. I just don't get it. How are people not exercise their senses to be able to discern the difference between good leadership and bad leadership? And again, the title of this lesson, whoever perished being innocent. I know I've heard people, say stuff like, well, that's why Bishop Nathaniel, almost died. The Most High did that. And it was just like, but he didn't, though. So that has to tell you something. Whoever perished being innocent. If the Most High spared him, the Most High healed him, kept him from, getting any worse, he's still here. So from what I'm looking in this lesson, I have to say, you know what, maybe he's one of the innocent ones. Maybe that's just the reason why he didn't perish, because he just might be one of the Most High's innocent ones. Have you guys ever taken the time to think about that? Just maybe, just maybe. Some of you are still running around sucking a bottle while he's traveling the world. He's got thousands of people that are looking to his leadership qualities and looking to him for what's the word I'm looking for? To be taught, to be fed. Some of you are still running around, sucking a bottle. And starting, just starting drama for no reason. Like I said, leave the man alone. Go back to the basics, desire the sincere milk of the word, and just maybe the Most High might start truly working with you. Get rid of the pride. Let's go to 1 Peter 2:2.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 2. As newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby.
Some of you, like I said, just haven't done it. You haven't desired the sincere milk of the word. That's why you come up with gimmicks to try and get people to join your camp. We got the 100% truth. I'm the third in line to Christ. Gimmicks. That shows that you're not sincere about this truth. You haven't been sincere about the milk of the word, period. Because here it is 20, 30, 40 years later, and you haven't grown in this truth. You're still running around teaching bad doctrines. I don't know. Just like I said, the name of the lesson says it all. Whoever perished being innocent. Leave the man alone. Again, let him do the work. Let him do the work that the Most High put him here to do. And if you're not on that level yet, then work harder. That was one of the things I was always taught. You get in that ring and you can't beat someone, then that means you need to go work harder. You need to figure it out. Sitting back, pouting, getting upset, angry, mad, that's not going to change nothing, because when you get in the ring with him again, he's going to beat your butt again. So, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's that video disturbed me. That if you can't tell, it really disturbed me. It's just crazy. But again, whoever perished being innocent. Let's go to Proverbs 4:1-4. I forgot to put the 1 Peter's up, didn't I? I thought I clicked on it.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4, and verse 1. And it says, hear you children, the instructions of a father, and attend to no understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my word, keep my commandments, and live.
So a lot is said in these words. Hear ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding. Some of you hear these words, you listen to them, but you're not really hearing them. You're not truly paying attention to the instructions. And that's been the problem with our people from the very beginning. Not following basic instructions that the Most High gave to us, straight instructions. And our people always found a way to screw it up. Hear ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding. Remember, understanding is repentance, turning from evil. And many of you just can't seem to do it. For I give you good doctrine. He gave us good doctrine right here in the scriptures. But some want to go start just making up stuff to make themselves seem more important in this truth than what they are. Forsake ye not my law. You forget about the law, forget about the commandments, no different than the Christian church. When was the last time you heard some of these leaders in some of these camps sit back and actually break down the 10 commandments to you? Talk about them, teach them, go over them, constantly reiterating them to their congregants to ensure that they're actually keeping them. You hardly ever hear them. Hardly. Going over the law, period. You have people out here having debates almost on a daily basis. But when you look at some of the topics that, or the majority of these topics that are being debated, the majority of them have absolutely nothing to do with our salvation. Especially when you're debating Esau, like, what are you debating them for? Why are you wasting your time? It's like you keep pounding your fist against a brick wall and get to the point that you wonder why your fist is hurting, that wall is not moving, but you continue to pound on it even though it's not doing you any good. It's not helping. That's what it's like for some of you that keep running to these Christian apologetics and these same dudes over and over and over again, debating them. When you already, how long has Vocabulon been around the Israelites now, bothering us and trying to debunk the Israelites? He's been around for a while now. And some of you are still running to him and his minions and trying to debate these same dudes, when if 10 years ago they weren't listening, they weren't giving in, they weren't acknowledging that you're teaching the truth and that what they're teaching is, what makes you think that they're going to have an epiphany all of a sudden now and that they're just going to change their mind and go, oh, he's right? It's a waste of time. It is a waste of time. And it's the same characters that all come from that lineage of was his name John White or Steve? What was that guy's name? I know his last name is White, the one that Vocab is real close to. But you know, all of those guys, all of Vocab's minions that he has, that he, you know, that learned from under him, and they're going out and you know they're starting. What is it? I think one of them or a couple of them are trying to restart that Shield Squad again, the new and improved Shield Squad. Forget about them people. Leave them alone. Stop bringing them up. Stop bringing them around. It's like every time you think that everybody could get to focusing on our people and focusing on the things that are conducive to Israel waking up, you have somebody pull one of these guys into a debate again and just start the foolishness all over again. And you're only doing it because you're trying to build a name for yourself. That's the only reason why you're doing it. It's not edifying Israel. It's not waking our people up to this, have you sitting there debating these people over and over and over and over again. You're wasting your time, and you're wasting your people's time. I don't know. But let's read on. For I was my father's son, tender, only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live. Keep my commandments and live. So what's going to give us life? Keeping the commandments. Plain and simple. Let's go to Proverbs 4:10 through 16.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 10. Hear, O my son, and receive my saying, and the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the ways of wisdom. I have led thee in right path. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened. And when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction, let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, un- unless they cause some to fall.
So again, here's some more of that wise instruction that we're getting from our Father. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of thy life shall be many. You want to live a long, prosperous life in this world? Listen to the words of the Most High. Stop following after some of these fools that some of you are following behind. Because some of these men are fools. The exact definition of what the Bible says a fool is, these guys fit it to a T. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. He's constantly trying to lead us in the right path. This entire book is instruction on us to be able to walk in right paths. But I don't know what happens with us as a people. We just, for whatever reason, we love veering off the path. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. So if we are keeping the commandments, we're not going to be stumbling at this word. We're not going to be falling down. You know how it is in the scary movies all the time. The woman is running from the bad guy, and they always seem to fall down, trip, fall, and they're on the ground, stumbling, trying to get up. That's our people in this truth. The Michael Myers of the scene is the scriptures, is the Holy Ghost. You want to run away from it. So, it's almost like you got Michael Myers running running behind you, or Jason Voorhees, and you're trying to run and get away. You're falling down, you're stumbling, try to get up, your legs buckle under you, you fall down again. It's almost like the reality is that the words in this book actually got you shook. They actually got many of you petrified. So afraid that you're actually afraid to act. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. That's what he says about instruction. And many of you will not take instruction from anybody because you think you got it all. You think you know it all. Nobody can't tell you anything. So full of pride. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. And this is the part that I don't understand. How can we all read the same Bible, and some of you are following behind some of the most wicked men in this truth, and you can't seem to open your eyes and see it? Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. But yet some of you will throw on their camp t-shirt, throw on their camp colors, and start camp banging right along with them. Because you still haven't gotten out of that street life yet. And you still want to thug, but you want to thug with fringes on. The Lord says, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. Stay away from these evil men. The Bible gives us descriptives of what kind of men to stay away from all throughout the scriptures. When I read these scriptures and I look at some of these men, oh yeah, that's talking about you. Yo, yeah, it's talking about you too. Oh yeah, that one too. So I don't know what book you guys are reading that you will look at some of these men and turn around and be like, oh, let me give double honors to the apostles of such and such a camp. You've got to be out of your mind. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. Some of these men are in this truth because they just want people following after them, and they just want to cause havoc in your life. There are some of these men in this truth. Some of them are just bullies, and they want, you remember the Tom and Jerry cartoons back in the day where you had the bulldog, and he had his little buddy that would be running behind him. You know what I mean? That's what some of you are. Some of your leaders in this thing are the bulldog, and you're that little puppy running behind them, and they just need you around so that they could kick you around. That's the reality of it. Some of these men have low self-esteem. They were never anything before, never had anybody looking up to them, but they wanted it. And now that they're in this truth and they got some years behind them, now they can use their authority, use their years to get people to follow behind them. And it's not really to bring people to the Most High. It's to feed their own ego. And some of you are not reading the scriptures to understand that. Because if you read the scriptures, you read something like this: enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. Reading something like that should make you wake up and look at the person you're following behind and go, oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. What is going on? These scriptures seem to be talking about him. That's because you haven't exercised your senses to discern the difference between good and evil. You're still a babe. You haven't desired that sincere milk of the word. Some of you have been spending so much energy at spewing hatred at other camps and camp leaders that you just stayed stagnant. You haven't grown. You haven't got any understanding. Just like some of these great debaters can't seem, these Christians that they're debating have more sense to understand that Christ is the God of the Old Testament than they, and they can't seem to grasp it. They can't get it. And they think they're doing a great work. They think they're winning the battles when they're doing these debates. Yeah, we got them. Like, no, you didn't. You just made the whole Israelite community look foolish. Lord's will, they wake up and see the truth and repent. But so far, it's not happening. Let's go to Proverbs 5:7-14.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 5 and verse 7. Hear me now. Hold on. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house, lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto thy cruel, lest strangers be filled with in the house of a stranger. And thou,
let strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. Unless it cut out some.
Says, let strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. And thou mourn at the last when thy flesh and thy body are consumed. And say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teacher, nor inclined my ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly.
And that goes for some of you. I've seen where, things have happened in IUIC with brothers in the congregation, sisters in the congregation, and everybody wants to turn it on, the leadership. Bishop Nathaniel, he's at fault. And it's like, how could you read stuff like this and turn around and when he's constantly teaching and his leadership is constantly teaching, thou shalt not commit adultery. You commit adultery up in here, we're kicking you out. You do this or that up in here, you're out. But the people go and do it anyway. How is that their leadership's fault? It's telling you right and say, how have I hated instruction and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers? You're going to have that. It's going on in a lot of these camps, where in some cases, very few, but in some cases like IUIC, they're teaching people the commandments and the law. It's just people are choosing not to follow it. They're choosing not to obey the voice of their teachers. As it says, nor incline my ear to them that instructed me. Some of us in Israel are just hard-headed, that no matter what your instructor tells you, you're just not listening. You're just not following the instructions. So you can't put that on the leaders. You can't put that on, on the top leader and say, well, he's wicked because look at what his congregants did. says, I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. You have people like this in the midst of Israel. They're out in the streets with their camp and they're teaching. They're out there doing the work. They're marching. They're, doing whatever. But behind the scenes, they haven't changed. And you're going to see that. Christ had a devil sitting next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he continued to let him stay there amongst them. He didn't kick him out. He didn't, get rid of him. He knew he was a thief. The whole group knew he was a thief. Christ knew he was going to betray him. But he knew that was also part of the Father's plan too. Let's go to Proverbs 10 and 6 through 9.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 10 and verse 6. Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. The memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. The wise in heart will receive commandment, but a patriot,
Prating
fool shall fall. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that
perverteth his way.
His way shall be known.
All right. So again, you read this and think about leaders in Israel. Think about congregations in Israel. Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. It doesn't take a genius to sit back and see, okay, which congregations are actually being blessed and which ones you always see nothing but turmoil going on in the midst of them. The memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. Let's think about that for a second. Let's weigh this in a balance. Let's take let's say the Most High takes Bishop Nathaniel tomorrow and takes Tahar tomorrow. Both of these men. You don't even have to think that hard. How many people are going to have great memories of Bishop Nathaniel? Give honor to Bishop Nathaniel. Memorialize Bishop Nathaniel. What kind of name is Tahar going to leave behind? That's all you need to say right there. The wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. See, that's why Bishop Nathaniel and his congregants and his congregation are receiving commandments, because they have a leader that's wise in heart. But a prating fool shall fall. And again, it baffles me that some of these men come in this truth and can't look at their leader and see that these scriptures like this is talking about him. You know who he reminds me of? Remember in the movie Back to the Future, Biff Tanner, whatever his name was, the protagonist of the story? How he was just a goofball that always just said stupid things. He always thought he had a wise saying coming out of his mouth, but when it came out, it was always wrong. It was always something stupid. That's who Tahar reminds me of. Every time he opens his mouth, something stupid comes out. But a prating fool shall fall. Some of you guys don't understand that your leader is a prating fool. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known. Everybody knows Tahar and his perverted ways and his perverted mindset and his perverted thinking. He's known. That's what he's known for. People outside of the Israelite community, the Kemetic community, people know what kind of person Tahar is. The Christian apologetics community knows what kind of person Tahar. He's known, but not for the right reasons. And some of you ought to be ashamed to even acknowledge that you even have any connection to him and his teachings. Let's go to 2 Ezra 16 and 54.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 16, and verse 54. And it says, Behold, the Lord knoweth all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts.
So this is heavy. Behold, the Lord knoweth all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts. And the Lord is talking about Christ. He still had that same characteristic when he came here in the flesh during the time of the Roman captivity, and he was walking this earth. He still knew all the works of men. He still knew their imaginations. He still knew their thoughts. He still knew what was in their hearts. There's no way you can, and this is what we had talked about in the last lesson. You can't hide your sins from the Most High. And that's what many of our people try to do. Many of our people try and proclaim themselves to be innocent, but in reality, they're not. As the lesson says, whoever perished being innocent. You're going to find out messing with the Lord's innocence is not a good thing. Because he told us over and over and over and warned us that if we didn't keep his commandments, that we would perish. What would happen to us? And there are many of you that love to chastise and bother and pick on and bully the Lord's innocent, not realizing that you're angering him. You're pissing him off. Again, you need to leave people alone. So the Most High, he did warn us as a nation, as a people, that if we didn't keep his commandments, what would happen to us? That we would surely perish. If we kept his commandments and we were innocent, we were free from iniquity, then we would be okay. We would be all right. But that's not what happened. We chose wrong. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4 and read verses 25 through 27.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, and verse 25. It says, When thou shalt begot children and children, and you shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourself and make a graven image or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God to provoke him to anger. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you.
So if Israel was innocent, none of that would have happened to us. We wouldn't have perished from off the land. He wouldn't have kicked us off. He wouldn't have allowed our enemies to come in and murder and scatter us. But it's because of our own foolishness, because of our own corruption that these things happen to us. We were not innocent. And we're not. See, some of our people today, especially these Christian pastors, have our people believing that, we're just innocent. We're children of God. I'm innocent. God loves me. God hates the sin but loves the sinner. All these different dumb sayings that they have in the Christian churches. When in reality, none of these people in these churches are innocent. But they want to portray themselves to be innocent. I'm a child of God. Let's go to Deuteronomy 8 and 10 through 20. So again, we're showing you that we were warned. He told us what would happen if we did not keep his commandments. He told us over and over, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through it over and over and over and show you the precepts where he constantly told us that we would perish if we did not keep his commandments. We're not innocent. We are guilty as charged. Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 10. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. Beware that thou forget not the Lord thy God, in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes which I command thee this day. Lest when thou hast eaten and art full and hast built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and when thy herd and thy flock multiply, and thy silver and thy gold is multiplied, and all that thou hast is multiplied, then thine heart be lifted up, and thou forget the Lord thy God, which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed thee in the wilderness with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might humble thee, and that he might prove thee to do thee good at thy latter end. And thou saying in thy heart, my power and the might of mine had gotten me this wealth. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get well, that he may establish his covenant with his swear unto thy fathers, as it is this day. And it shall be, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God, and walk after other gods, and serve them and worship them, I testify against you this day that ye shall surely perish, as the nations which the Lord destroyed before your face, so shall ye perish, because ye will not be obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God.
So he told us exactly the reason why we would perish from off the land. And he reiterated it again. Because ye would not be obedient unto the voice of the Lord your God. Because we were not obedient. We were not innocent. We were guilty as charged. That's why these things happen to our people. That's why we're in captivity. That's why you see the Lord getting ready to light a fire in Israel. He's about to light a fire under our people. Why do you think he allowed Donald Trump back in office? The Lord let this happen. If you the way things are going, Jacob's trouble isn't that far away. You could see that very clear if you're paying attention. Jacob's trouble's getting nearer and nearer, and our people's minds are just on everything and anything else other than the keeping of the commandments of the Most High. All right, so we're going to keep pulling precepts. Why are we in captivity? What did we do? Why or how many times did he tell us that we were going to perish for not keeping his commandments? He warned us over and over again. We just didn't listen. Let's go to Deuteronomy 11:16-32.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11 and verse 16. Take heed to yourself that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then the Lord's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heavens that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, unless ye perish quickly from off the good land which the Lord giveth you. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as spotless between your eyes. And ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou raisest up. And thou shalt write them upon the doorposts of thy house and upon thy gate, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children in the land which the Lord swore unto your fathers to give them, as the day of heaven upon the earth.
As the
For
days of heaven upon the earth. You see, that's what heaven is. Heaven and hell are a condition. Heaven is having the kingdom. Heaven is being in a state of rulership. Hell is being in captivity. You see, people don't understand what they're saying when they say, oh, am I going to go to heaven? Oh, are you saying I'm going to go to hell? We're already living it. We're already in it. People don't get that. They don't understand that. But he says that your days may be multiplied in the days of your children in the land which the Lord sware unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. Let's go ahead and read.
For if ye shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him, then will the Lord drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourself. Every place whereon the sole of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even unto the uttermost sea shall your coast be. There shall no man be able to stand before you, for the Lord your God shall lay the fear of you and the dread of you upon all the land that ye shall tread upon, as he has said unto you. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you this day. And curse if you will not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but run aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after other gods which ye have not known. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord thy God hath brought thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, that thou shalt put the blessing upon Mount Gerizim, and the curse upon Mount Ebal. Are they not on the other side of Jordan, by the way where the sun goeth down, in the land of the Canaanites, which dwelt in the champaign over against Gilgal, besides the plains of Moreh? For ye shall pass over Jordan to go in to possess the land which the Lord God giveth you, and ye shall possess it and dwell therein. And ye shall observe to do all the statutes and judgments which I said before you this day.
So again, a warning telling us that if we didn't obey the commandments, we would perish from off the land. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and read verses 20 through 22.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 20. And it says, the Lord shall send upon thee curse, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thou settest thy hand unto, for to do until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doing, whereby thou hast taken me. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with the blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish.
So he told us that he was going to do these things to us. And he tells us again the reason why. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do. So he didn't say some of the things that we were going to do, that he was going to do these things to us. He said he was going to set his hand unto everything that we set our hands into, that he was going to do these things to us. And he said, until thou be destroyed and until thou perish quickly. And then he tells us the reason why again. See, he always makes sure he tells us the reason why something happened or why he did things to us. There was never a time that he did something to us and there was no explanation as far as why given. It says, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. So he told us clearly why he was going to do these things. It says, the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Why is that going to happen? Because Israel's not innocent. Israel is guilty as charged. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30 and read verses 15 through 20.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, and verse 15. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil, and that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it. But if thine heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, and denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou possessest over Jordan to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life, and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them.
And see, again, this is the second time we're hearing this, that he gave us a choice. You see, you have some people in Israel teaching that there is no such thing as free will. Free will. There's no such thing as free will. You don't have free will. If somebody gives you a choice in something, you have the freedom to choose life and you have the freedom to choose death. You have the freedom to choose whether you're going to keep his commandments, and you have the freedom to choose not to keep the commandments. Doesn't that sound like freedom of choice to me?
Mhm.
Free will, but I'm trying to understand, like, how can, I don't know, I don't get it. I don't understand how some of these doctrines, come about. There's no such thing as free will in the scriptures. We don't have free will. Um, Grab Leviticus 22 and 18.
The book of Leviticus 2022.
22:18.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 22, and verse 18. Speak unto Aaron and to his sons and unto all the children of Israel, and say unto them, whatsoever he be of the house of Israel or of the strangers in Israel, that will offer his oblations for all his vows and for all his free will offerings, which they will offer unto the Lord for a burnt offering.
So you have something that's called free will offerings because you made your offerings on your own free will. You had a choice. You could give your offerings or you could not get your offerings. Now, by not giving your offerings, there might be some form of punishment coming your way for not doing it, but you still had the freedom to choose. Just like we had the freedom to choose whether or not we were going to keep the commandments or not keep them. We had the freedom to choose life. We had the freedom to choose death. That's called free will. Somebody gives you a choice. That's free will. You have the freedom to choose whichever is for you. All right. Let's go to Joshua 23 and read verses 11 through 16. But again, we're showing you that he says it over and over again. Look at how many precepts we're showing you where he told us the same thing over and over again. If we didn't keep the commandments, we would surely perish. Go ahead.
The book of Joshua, chapter 23, and verse 11. And it says, take good heed therefore unto yourself that ye love the Lord your God. Else, if you do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them and go into them, and they to you, know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you as scourges in your side and thorns in your eyes until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you. And behold, this day I am going the way of all the earth, and ye know in all your hearts and in all your souls that not one thing had failed of all the good things which the Lord your God spake concerning you. All are come to pass unto you, and not one thing hath failed thereof. Therefore it shall come to pass that as all good things are come upon you, which the Lord your God promises you, so shall the Lord bring upon you. He bring upon you all evil things until he have destroyed you from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you. When ye have transgressed the covenant of the Lord your God, which commanded you, and have gone and served other gods, and bow yourselves to them, then shall the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and ye shall perish quickly from off the good land which he hath given unto you.
And so this is another teaching that you're hearing pop up in Israel, where there are certain people teaching that we can marry the other nations. It's not unlawful. We were never told not to marry the other nations. Like, what are you reading? It's clearly stated here that if we made marriages with these other nations, that we would perish from off the land. I'll read it again. Take good heed, starting verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else, if ye do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go in unto them, and they to you, know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until ye perish from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you. That's crystal clear. We were told not to mix with these other nations, and we were told the consequences for doing so. It's constant throughout the scriptures. He tells us not to do something, and he explains what's going to happen to us if we do disobey. And he explains why we had to endure that punishment. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 4, and verses 7 through 9. So we just gave plenty of precepts proving and showing that the Most High have warned Israel. He warned you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans about what would happen to you after we were brought into the land. We were in the land for a while. We got settled in. We even got ourselves a king or two. And Israel wanted to start going off like usual, disobeying. Go ahead and read.
The book of Job, chapter 4 and verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perishes being innocent, or where, hold on a minute. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perishes being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and show wickedness reap the same. By the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed.
So he's telling us straight. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? When have you ever seen the righteous get cut off? Where? If the nation is living righteously, when were they cut off? It says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And that's what you see happen with a lot of our brothers in this truth. Many of them sow wickedness, and many of them reap the same thing. They reap wickedness. You sow what you reap, or you reap what you sow, I mean. It says, by the blast of God they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. Hey. But what does God say about the innocent, about the righteous. Again, going to show you, don't mess with this innocent. Let's go to Exodus 23:7.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23, and verse 7. And it says, keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous lay thou not, for I will not justify thy wicked.
Read that one more time.
Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked.
Crystal clear. Keep thee far from a false matter, because again, many of our people love bringing up false reports, bringing up false accusations, and then people take it and run with it, spreading rumors. He says, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not. Any of our people that's in righteousness, that's keeping the commandments, leave them alone. He says, for I will not justify the wicked. Let's go to Job 33:8-9.
The book of Job, chapter 33, and verse 8. Surely thou hast spoken in my hearing, and I have heard the voice of thy words, saying, I am clean without transgression, I am innocent, neither is there iniquity in me.
So this is heavy. This is telling you what it means to be innocent. As I said at the beginning of the lesson, we're going to pull precepts to show you what it means to be innocent. It says, surely thou let me read again. Surely thou hast spoken in mine hearing, and I have heard the voice of thy words, saying, I am clean without transgression. I am innocent, neither is there iniquity in me. So to be innocent in the eyes of God, it means that you are clean without transgression. It means that there is no iniquity in you. You are free of any iniquity. You're free of any sin. That's what it means to be innocent to the Most High. And again, whoever perished being innocent. If you're keeping God's commandments, we're going to show you later in the lesson, again, examples of our forefathers, stories of our forefathers, where they were falsely accused or set to be put to death because of certain sins that may appear that they may have committed, but they didn't. All right. But you have to understand what it means to be innocent, what the Most High's definition of innocence is. I am clean without transgression. I am innocent. Neither is there iniquity in me. Let's go to Psalms 19:13-14.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19, and verse 13. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of thy mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer.
So again, keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. So that's what it means to be upright. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. When you're not in sin, when you've repented, you're keeping the commandments of the Most High, you're doing his laws, his statutes, his judgments. You're not allowing sin to have dominion over you. You're not allowing sin to control you. Let's go to Sirach 11 and 10.
The book of Sirach, chapter 11, and verse 10. My son, meddle not with many matters, for if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent, and if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by fleeing.
So, my son, meddle not with many matters. We got to remember that. For if thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent. And if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. So sometimes we got to pay attention to what we allow ourselves to get involved in. Sometimes it's better to just turn and walk away, stay away. Let's go to Hosea 12 and 2.
The book of Hosea, chapter 12, and verse 2. The Lord had also controversy with Judah, and will punish Jacob according to his ways, according to his doings will he recompense him.
All right, so the Lord is even telling us he has a controversy with Judah. And he said he's going to punish Jacob according to his ways. According to his doings will he recompense him, meaning he's going to pay him back according to his doings, according to his works, meaning the nation of Judah. Because that's who the Most High is dealing with. He was dealing with the Israelites. It was the Israelites he gave his laws, and it was the Israelites he told to keep them. It was the Israelites he gave free will to make a free choice as to whether or not they were going to keep the commandments and live, or they were going to break the commandments and perish. He gave them a choice. He gave us a choice. Let's go to Amos 3 and 1 through 2.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities.
Therefore I will punish you for all of your iniquities. So the only people he's dealing with, the only people that are being punished for their sins, the only people that are getting a spanking because they're guilty and not innocent are the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. God's dealing with you. That's why he's speaking these words against you. You only have I known of all the families of the earth, meaning all the other nations of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. He warned us. He told us what was going to happen if we didn't obey, and we just ignored it. But let's get into some more warnings. Let's go to Leviticus 26. You're going to read verses 30 through 38.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 30. And it says, these are the sons of, no, I'm not in Leviticus. So the book of Leviticus, chapter 26 and verse 30. Here we go. And I will destroy your high places and cut down your images and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols, and my soul shall afford you. And I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation, and I will not smell the saviors of your sweet order. And I will bring the land into a desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbaths as long as it lieth desolate, and ye be in your enemy's land. Even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Sabbath. As long as it lieth desolate, it shall rest, because it did not rest in your Sabbath when ye dwell upon it. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a fat faint.
Faintness.
Thank you. Hold on, I'm gonna do that again. And upon them that are left alive of you, I will send a faintness in the heart in the land of their enemy, and the sound of a shaken leaf shall chase them, and they shall flee as fleeing from a sword, and they shall fall when none pursue it, and they shall fall one upon another as it were before a sword, when none pursue it, and ye shall have no power to stand before your enemy, and ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up.
Where did you end at?
Verse 38.
Go ahead and read verse 39. I'm sorry.
Verse 39. I'm going to read 38 and finish on 38. And ye shall perish, and ye shall perish among the heathen, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up, and they that are left of you shall pine away in their iniquity in your enemy's land, and also in the iniquities of their fathers shall they pine away with them.
So again, the warning, what's going to happen if we don't obey? Let's go to verses 40 through 46.
Verse 40. If if they shall confess their iniquities and the iniquities of their fathers with their trespasses which they trespass against me, and that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies in their uncircumcised hearts, be humble, they then accept of the punishment of their iniquities. Um, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. The land also shall be left of them, and shall enjoy her Sabbath, while she lieth desolate without them, and they shall accept of the punishment, because they despise my judgments, and because their soul abhorred my statutes. And yet, for all that when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them, to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them. For I am the Lord their God. But I will, for their sake, remember the covenant of their ancestors, who I brought forth out of the land of Egypt, in the sight of the heathen, that I might be their God. I am the Lord. These are the statutes and the judgments and laws which the Lord made between him and the children of Israel in Mount Seir by the hand of Moses.
And actually Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. So you can see we've given so many precepts showing how the Most High had warned us about keeping his commandments, and warned us about what would happen if we didn't keep the commandments, that we would perish. All right. That seems to be an ongoing theme throughout the scriptures, that If Israel don't keep the commandments, Israel's going to perish. You read it over and over and over and over again. But somehow we're scattered here in America. How? Why? Why did it happen? Because obviously we didn't obey. If we were innocent, we would have never perished. It would have never happened. But obviously Israel is not, we're not innocent at all. All right. So we're going to read an example in the scriptures of one of our foreparents who was falsely accused of something. And what they're accused of in the law is certain death. And what ends up happening is you will see how the Most High didn't allow this person to not perish. And the reason why it didn't happen is because, as we're going to read, this person was actually innocent. They were falsely accused. All right. So we have several of these examples that we're going to go through. We may not get to all of it today because there's a lot of reading. So we may save some of this for next Sabbath. All right. Break it up some. Let's go to Daniel 13, and you can read verses 1 through 64.
The book of Daniel, chapter 13. Is there another Daniel?
It might be look up Susanna, the story of Susanna, what have you, in the Apocrypha.
Susanna. Here we go. The history of Susanna. And you want 1 through 64. Okay, perfect. Makes sense. The history of Susanna, Daniel 13 and 1. There dwelled a man in Babylon called Joachim, and he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, a very fair woman and one that fears the Lord. He parented also. His parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses.
So it says her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. See, that was something that was common back then with our people, that they would teach their daughters the laws of Moses. So I could guarantee you Susanna's parents were not allowing her to walk around wearing pants. I'm pretty sure Susanna's parents made her walk around in clothes that were not revealing. I'm sure she had on her fringes. I'm sure she had her head covered. She was not allowed to be running around being ratchet and being disrespectful like you see a lot of these young girls today, because she was taught the law of Moses. She was taught the commandments. Who taught her? Her parents did. Her parents were righteous. Go ahead and read on.
Now, Joachim was a great rich man and had a fair garden joined unto his house, and to him resorted the Jews, because he was more honorable than all others. The same year were appointed two of the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of, that wickedness come from Babylon, from ancient judges who seem to govern the people. These kept much at Joachim's house, and all that had any truth in the law came unto them. Now, when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk. And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed towards her.
So Susanna obviously must have been very beautiful to look at. And you had these two perverts. That's why you got to really pay attention in Israel. What kind of men are around your daughters, around your wives? Because the lust was bad. And you notice it says Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk. So they knew she was married. Let's read on.
And they perverted their own minds and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven nor remember just judgment. And albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one show another his grief.
So they didn't share with each other that they both liked her. Go ahead.
For they were ashamed to declare their love, that they desired to have to do with her. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her.
It says, yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. So that means that, they were probably just purposely popping up in places she was popping up. They were stalking her. Basically, essentially, is what you would call it today. They were watching her. They wanted her. And they didn't care if she had a man at home. Go ahead.
And the one said to the other, let us now go home, for it is dinner time. So when they were gone out, they parted the one from the other and turned back again. They came to the same place. And after that, they had asked one another the cause. They acknowledged their lust. Then appointed they a time both together when they might find her alone. And it fell out as they watched a fit time. She went in as before with two maids only, and she was desired to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. And there was nobody there save the two elders. They had hid themselves and watched her.
So here she is, trying to bathe herself, and you got these two pervs hiding, watching her. Go ahead.
Then she said to her maid, bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden door, that I may wash me. And they did as she obeyed them, and shut the garden door, and went out to themselves and privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them, but they saw not the elders, because they were hid. Now when the maids were gone forth, the two elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and where we are in love with thee, therefore consent unto us and lie with us. If thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maid from thee.
So in other words, you either going to get with us or we're going to make up a story and lie on you. Which is it going to be? Go ahead.
Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side. For if I do this thing, it is death unto me. And if I do it not, I cannot escape your hands.
So she already knew, getting accused of adultery. She's married. That's instant death. So she's like, what choice, what real choice do I have? This is no, this is no real choice. Go ahead.
It is better for me to fall into your hands and not to do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the two elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry of the garden, they rushed in at a privy door to see what was done unto her. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna.
Said there was never such a report ever made of her. Remember, she was taught the laws of Moses. She knew the commandments. She was taught the law. She was known as an innocent. She had a good reputation in Israel. And now all of a sudden these accusations come out of nowhere. Go ahead.
It says, and it come to pass the next day when the people were assembled to her husband, Joachim, the two elders came also full of mischievous imaginations against Susanna to put her to death. And said before the people, send for Susanna, the daughter of Chelcias, Joachim's wife. And so they sent. So she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman and beauteous to behold. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered, that they might be filled with her beauty.
So here they are being slick, trying to accuse her and like, take that off your face. As if her having it on was something wrong, but it was just really them again giving into their lust. Go ahead.
Therefore, her friend, and all that saw her wept. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head. And she wept, looking up towards heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. And the elders said,
she trusted in the Lord. She trusted in God. Trusted in the Most High. Go ahead.
And the elders said, as we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids and shut the garden door and sent the maids away. Then a young man who there was hid came unto her and lay with her. Then we that stood in the corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out.
So here they are making up this whole story about her being with this other man, trying to get her killed, all because she didn't want to be with them. Go ahead.
But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify. And the assembly believed them as those that were the elders and judges of the people, so they commanded her to death.
Condemned her.
Yeah, condemned her to death.
So she got condemned to death. The assembly, they didn't even question the men. They just believed every word they said and was like, you know what? Kill her. Go ahead.
Then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting God that knowest the secrets and knowledge of all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witnesses against me, and behold, I must die, whereas I never did such things as these men have maliciously invented against me.
So I've never done anything like that. I never did any such thing that these men are claiming. Go ahead.
And the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord said, raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman.
So he's like, I don't know what you guys are thinking. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm clear from this. I'm not having nothing to do with this. Go ahead.
Then it says, then all the people turned them towards him and said, what mean these words that thou hast spoken?
So they're like, what you
So,
talking about? What do you mean?
uh, so he standing in the midst of them said, are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination of knowledge of the truth ye have condemned a daughter of Israel?
So he's telling you, you guys are fools. He's like, are you guys without the knowledge of the truth? You guys don't know the scriptures. You guys don't know the commandments. You don't know the law that you just condemned the daughter of Israel. Go ahead.
um, Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witnesses against her. Wherefore, all of the people turned again in haste, and the elders said unto him, come, sit down among us, and show it to us, seeing God had given thee the honor of an elder. Then said Daniel unto them, put these two aside one far from another, and I will examine them. So when they were put asunder one from another, he called one of them and said unto him, O thou that art waxed old in wickedness, now thy sins which thou hast committed aforetime are come to light. For thou hast pronounced false judgment and hast condemned the innocent and hast let the guilty go free. Albeit the Lord said, the innocent and righteous shall thou not slay.
So that was something the Most High adamantly would not allow to happen, that the innocent would be allowed to be slayed without just cause. As it says, for thou hast pronounced false judgment and has condemned the innocent and has let the guilty go free. They were willing to put her to death without questioning these two men and just going to allow them to go free, all because they're upset that she didn't want them. Go ahead.
It says, now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them company together, who answer under a mastic tree? And Daniel said, very well, thou hast lied against thy own head, for even now the angel of God has received the sentence of God to cut thee in two. So he put him aside and commanded to bring the other and said unto him, O thou seed of Shanaan, and
Canaan.
not of Judah, Shaman, and not of Judah. Beauty had deceived thee, and lust hath perverted thine heart. Thus have ye dealt with the daughter of Israel, and they for fear campaign with you.
With you,
But, say it again.
accompanied with you.
Company with you, but the daughter of Judah will not abide your wickedness. Now therefore tell me, under what tree dost thou take them company together? Whose answer under a holm tree. Then said Daniel unto him, well, thou hast also lied against thy own head, for the angel of God waited with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. With that, all the assembly cried out with a loud voice and praised God, who saveth them that trusted in him.
Who
And
saveth them that trust in him. Go ahead.
um, they arose against the two elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus, innocent blood was not shed the same day. Therefore, uh, Chelcias and his wife praised God for their daughter Susan with Joachim, her husband, and all their kindred, because there was no dishonesty found in her. From that
Because
day forth,
no honesty found in her. Go ahead.
From that day forth was Daniel had a great reputation in the sight of the people.
So Susanna was deemed to be one that is innocent, and the Most High did not allow her to perish. So again, whoever perished being innocent, we're showing you an example from the scriptures of one of our foremothers who was falsely accused, who was about to be put to death, and the Most High intervened and did not allow that to happen because she was innocent. She was free from sin, free from iniquity. Now, if she was caught up in all kinds of sins, she was like many of today's women, you think she would have been able to get away from that? No, not at all. And you can see the difference between then and now, where the woman's reputation as far as being innocent or being an adulteress, that was a big thing. Now, you know what I mean? If your name was attached to anything like that, that was looked at as very shameful. But now these women today are very shameless, that they don't even care. They embrace being women that are loose, being out there going from man to man to man to man. They embrace it now. They're not ashamed to go out and talk about the hundreds of different men that they've been with now. Like it's a great accomplishment in their life that they've had all these different men. But our foremother, Susanna, she wasn't like that. We need to teach our women to get them to come back to being like our foremothers, especially like one is like Susanna. This is a story that a lot of our women need to read. They need to know about. They need to be taught the laws of Moses just like she was. Why? So that we can stop seeing our nation perish because of foolishness. All right. Let's go to you know what, we'll leave it there for today. Because when we come back next Sabbath, there's going to be a lot of reading, and we could get through it early. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of reading next time. We'll finish it up next Sabbath, all right? So hopefully, Lord's will, you're getting something out of this. We're going to leave the rest of this lesson for next Sabbath. Again, whoever perished being innocent. Are you without sin? Are you innocent? Like we said at the beginning of the lesson, many of our people try to portray themselves as being innocent, but are they truly? Many of our women portray themselves to be innocent. They try and portray themselves to be like Susanna, but in reality, are they? Look at the difference. She was accused of being a liar, but she wasn't. But today, a lot of these women, they have no problem licking a man or licking other people in the face and flat out lying to them. Look at the number of videos that are popping up of men going to get DNA tests on their children after years of taking care of the kids and finding out the truth that the kid's not even theirs. This stuff is happening more and more and more and more in today's times, that a lot of the women now are just shameless. They have no shame at all. And they're living life very loosely, to where they're just going from man to man to man to man to man. And nobody seems to feel that it's wrong for them to be doing that. They don't even feel like there's anything wrong for them to be doing that. But again, looking back at Susanna's times, that was something to be ashamed of. very ashamed of. Look at how many women are cheating on their husbands and things like that, that are committing adultery. That in today's times, some of the, if a woman today that was put in Susanna's situation, they would probably feel flattered and actually go and do something with the men, because that's how low the self-esteem of our women are now. So we've got to teach our people, we've got to teach them to know better and to do better, because we didn't get to the stage by accident to where we have a whole nation of young women that, like I said, they're just shameless. They don't care what they care about, how they speak. They don't care about how they act. They don't care about their reputations. Susanna was held in great reputation. We need more of our women today to learn about Susanna and to be taught about Susanna so that they can become more like Susanna. Just think of what a big difference that would make in our nation if our women went back to being shamefaced, went back to being innocent, went back to dressing modestly. Just think of what a big difference that would make. All right. So let's go to Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let's go ahead and end with that, and we'll finish this up next Sabbath because there is quite a bit of reading.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, number 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work with judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
And with that, we're going to say shalom, most high in Christ blessed. Lord's will, we'll see you next Sabbath to finish up this lesson. Lord's will, so far you're getting some edification from it. And like I said, for a while, we're going to be dealing with these topics from Job. All right. There are a lot of them, a lot. So far, I've counted over 300 questions that are in the book of Job that need to be answered. So, and that's going halfway through the book of Job. So haven't even gotten to the second half of it. All right. So anybody telling you that they got the 100% truth, they are lying to you. Ask them, have you answered every single question in Job? Have you? And see what they say. I can guarantee you they haven't. So with that, we're going to say shalom, most high Christ blessed. We'll see you next Sabbath.